But right now, let's dive into who we think is going to have a great year from pitchers, discussing our Cy Young draft. And we've done a draft on this show before. I think it was for the Final Four. So what we're going to do is Jenks is going to go, I'm going to go, Shea's going to go, and we each pick somebody who we think is going to win the Cy Young, regardless of league. So you can pick from the American League or the National League, and we're going to go through twice to where we each get 2 plays. So let's get down to it. Jenks, who do you think is going to win the Cy Young, or who do you think is the best value play from a betting perspective?
Oh, am I looking at value or am I looking at a winner here? You know what? I'm going to go. I know I need to make a pick here. This is going to be not a sexy play, but I'm taking Max Scherzer at 6-1. I just love Mad Max. I love that he's back in the NL East where he knows this division. He knows the teams. He's thrived in this division. He's a guy who's a warrior. He's not injured very often. There's a lot of guys on this list that I like, but they have injury questions. The one thing you know about Max is that A, he's going to pitch great. B, he's unflappable. And C, he's going to stay healthy. So I know it's not a sexy pick. I know there's not a ton of value there, but give me Mad Max.
For me, I'm going to go with another trusted name. And you get a little bit more value because this is a guy coming off Tommy John, and that's Justin Verlander. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, he's 39. Oh, he's coming off surgery, and he hasn't pitched a full season since 2019. But looking at Justin Verlander, he has found the fountain of youth before. And when you're talking about Cy Young, you need a guy with wipeout stuff who's also really consistent. Look at how consistent Justin Verlander has been. He has now had an ERA over 3.3 since 2014. This guy is unflappable. I'm not sure who his doctors are, but he seemed to even get even better when he went to Houston, 223 innings and won the Cy Young in 2019. So the last time he played a full season, he won a Cy Young. So I still have faith in Justin Verlander. I think his stuff is still going to be there. And I think you get a little bit more value on him because he is coming off surgery. So let's take a look at his odds. And he is plus 2,000 to win Cy Young. So I'm going to go with Justin Verlander. Shea, I know you like some long shots. Are you doing that with your first pick?
Not with the first pick. I might really go like some extreme value with a name that neither of you would take on the second pick. I got to be honest, I'm much more excited to do the MVP version of this later. I have some really strong plays in that range. In this award, I'm a lot less interested. If you look at like the top of the American League, it's just filled with youth. Like Dylan Cease, 16-1 at BetMGM. Can never do it. Like Shane McClanahan, 20-1 at BetMGM, can't ever do it. But where I start to get interested is at 20-1. I see Jose Berrios, who's going to be the ace of that Blue Jays pitching staff. Maybe. I mean, they have 3 basically: Kevin Gausman, Jose Berrios, and Alek Manoah. I feel like Berrios is the cream that rises to the top here. I don't know if Gausman repeats what he was able to do a year ago. Berrios has kind of had that consistent strikeout stuff. He's got really nice off-speed breaking pitches. I think this is at a team where he can have a breakout. So I'm looking at Jose Berrios for Toronto to win the American League MVP, 20-1 at BetMGM. So that gets us through one round. Jenks went chalk with Scherzer. Chelsa. My guy, Justin Verlander, and then I have Jose Berrios, and I am up to pick again. I think I'm going to go to the National League, and I'm going to get a less valuable pick than I expected. I'm going to go with Logan Webb, who a lot of people, I think, aren't expecting to be able to repeat an outstanding season that he had a year ago. The peripherals, though, all suggest, like XFIP, when you start looking at some of that deeper stuff, the peripherals all suggest what he did was very real and very repeatable. And I think he's in position to really be able to shine this year. So I'm going to go with Logan Webb for the National League.
Ooh, I like both those. And then going back to Jose Berrios, I covered him in minor leagues coming up with the Twins. Oh, wow. He was one of those prospects who everybody was so excited about. Him and Byron Buxton, who I'm expecting for him to have at least a decent season this year. But he has exciting stuff. I'm waiting for him to truly break out. Next up for me, I think I need to go to the National League and pick somebody there. I think I'm going to go with Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins, plus 1,600, a guy that's been super steady. I'm not sure if he has the wipeout stuff that you kind of expect from a Cy Young winner, but he's plus 1,600. I kind of like him. I think he's probably going to lead the league in a lot of categories because not only does he have good strikeout stuff, he also goes deep in games. If you remember some of these Marlins games, he will pitch 9 innings and the Marlins will still lose the game somehow. It kind of goes like that. We've seen that a little bit with Jacob deGrom over the seasons, but Sandy Alcantara has been nothing but steady for the Marlins, and he's got great stuff. So I'm going to go Sandy Alcantara plus 1,600.
I am so tempted. I want to take Jacob deGrom because I think there's so much value, but every time you hear news about him, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And I just don't, as amazing as he is, particularly with how he started last year, if he could just stay healthy, he can win this thing, but I don't think he can. I may go with Lucas Giolito at 11-1 just because the White Sox are going to win a lot of games this year. And this is a guy who certainly maybe took a bit of a step back last year, but when you have the lineup that they have, they're going to win a lot. And Giolito is the class of that staff. I think 11-1 is pretty good value. So give me him and the White Sox.
You already did your long shot.
I already did.
We're done.
I have to. So you want one? Just take Tarek Skubal 66-1 just for fun.
No.
You love Tarek.
Just for fun.
Here's the tough part about picking Cy Young winners, because last year everybody looks at Robbie Ray and saying, oh, he was 66, 75-1 to win this award. But he was a guy that had wipeout stuff. He just couldn't figure out his control. And we joked about Robbie Ray, the saying being, he's either going to strike out the side, he's going to walk in a run, or he's going to give up 3 home runs in the first inning. So he was kind of one of those volatile guys that you kind of lucked out if you saw, hey, if he can get his control under, somewhat of control, he's going to do big things. But it's really hard because you need a guy that has absolutely filthy stuff. And because you can have great numbers, but you got to strike guys out.
Lucky for me, Skubal's got a 26% K rate. I don't know if you saw his spring start the other day, but 8 innings. He had an 11-12 strikeout game last year. I mean, he's got the wipeout stuff. He's got to figure out the control. It's kind of the same thing. I just think, like, realistically, he's 24 years old, but when you have a lefty with that kind of velocity and a huge slider who's starting to figure out the curveball and the breaking stuff, if you really wanted like a young guy, real long shot, 66-1, I actually think Skubal's the way to go.
You also have to be consistently good at not allowing runs either.
I also want to give Shea props. I would give you a standing ovation for dropping Tarek Skubal knowledge from spring training. That's impressive.
And also, how much are you reading into that? Like, who is he facing here?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't watch. I saw the line, but they were playing. They were playing the Yankees. I saw his spring line, and then if you watched the end of last season, a home run allowance is going to be his biggest challenge. I think the defense for the Tigers clearly got much better this offseason. So I think if you really want a long shot, that's the one you look at.
I think you also need somebody who goes a little bit deeper in games. I know that was kind of the talking point when Blake Snell won the Cy Young back a couple years ago, that he didn't throw many innings. But usually you need a workhorse, a guy that is consistently going long in games, a guy that's also has a pretty decent ERA, but has the wipeout stuff. So that is a very elite category of guys. So that's the reason I'm kind of leaning on the chalk there for the Cy Young.